Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So yeah, Ankita is also here with us. Yeah, great. So we have
Yes.
we have Nishchal as well with us. Nishchal, yeah. So hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great day, and I'm really glad that so many people have started joining the webinar. And this is one of the most crucial topics that everyone who's associated with this industry should be aware of. So let me introduce myself. My name is Siddharth Jain, and I'm the marketing executive at Trackyear. And with me, I have Ankita Rana, who is our customer success manager and has a very vast and diverse experience in the ad tech industry.
Thanks a lot, Siddharth, for introducing me. So before starting this webinar, I just wanted to, tell our audience a bit about Trackyear. So we at Trackyear, we enable you to create, automate, measure, and optimize all of your marketing campaigns, publishers, advertisers, creatives, and conversions in one place. So currently, we're serving more than 700 loyal customers across 45 plus countries.
Yeah. So myself being a marketer in the ad industry and Ankita dealing directly with our customers, we help our customers to strategize and achieve their desired goals with Trackyear. So while doing so, we tend to face a lot of complex problems on a day-to-day basis. On one of these complex problems is the rising ad frauds, which we work to prevent on a daily basis. So, Ankita, as we know, digital advertisements are a great way of source of income and for growing your business. So, what do you think is the drawback of this?
Yes, Siddharth. So if you've actually correctly put it, digital advertisements, they're a great way of source of income, for connecting with the consumers or for growing your business. But, with every great thing, there is a slight downfall, right? So the downfall that we're going to talk about today are the ad frauds in the affiliate industry. But obviously, with the rising problems of ad frauds, we as technology-inspired people, we try our best to come up with solutions for every problem. So today we are going to talk about the various ad frauds, how these frauds can take place, and what solutions we as Tracker have integrated to combat these rising frauds. So, this will not only educate our audience to, know about these frauds, and it will also help them learn about the preventive measures that one can take, and how advertisers can actually protect their business from these deceptive practices.
Right. So, Ankita, talking about the ad frauds, there are n number of malpractices in the market. Can you tell us which are the most common ones and the most harmful for someone who is using affiliate marketing as a means to grow their business?
So Siddharth, as there are a lot of fraud that is happening in the industry, right? And I'm sure most of our attendees would also know these type of frauds. But the most common type of ad frauds that are actually, contributing into revenue losses are, the bad bot frauds, the click frauds, the data center or proxy frauds, domain spoofing, fake installations, unknown device ID, and same subnet or IP frauds.
Right. So, can you enlighten us more about the bot frauds?
Sure. So basically, there are two type of bots. So one are the good bots, and the other are the bad bots. So as the name suggests, good bots are actually those type of bots that actually help you in, growing your business in a positive manner. So these type of bots can be search engine crawlers. These could be social network bots, or you could say website monitoring bots. But the main concerns are the bad bots. So these bad bots, they actually carry out malicious acts such as ad and click fraud, fake clicks, and fake impressions. So bad bots, they actually act as if they're real humans because they keep clicking on ads and they keep downloading the apps as such. Real people are actually doing it. So the huge concern is that they make it seem like an ad is receiving a lot of impressions, but they're just simply being scanned by a bot.
Right.
And according to various Business Insight reports, more than quarter of the website are actually bad bots, which could be, scrappers, they can be spammers or impersonators, as you can see in the graph over here. So, by the end of this webinar as well, we'll be showing you how, our bot traffic reports can actually help you in identifying these, bot traffic and actually blocking them.
Right. So that's really good. So, Ankita, many brand marketers and advertisers also have to deal with frauds related to click farming, fake app installations. What are your thoughts on that, and how can one tackle them?
Yes, so click farms are, basically their farm of people who actually click on ads multiple times. They download apps multiple times. So, even though you're getting a lot of clicks, these are not, genuine clicks that would help you in your revenue, right? So, talking about fake app installations as well, these are a subset of click farms where apps are downloaded by people thousands of times and they interact with them in bulk. So these fake installs do not actually lead to any genuine clicks or conversions. So for this, what Tracker has come up with are the CTIT rules, which we'll be seeing in the later slides as well. So which could be of a huge help for the consumers over here.
Right. Oh, that's really insightful. Any other frauds people should be aware of?
Yeah, so the other type of frauds that one should be aware of are frauds like data center and proxy frauds. So data centers, they're nothing but large facilities that house networked IT systems which process, share, and store data. So these data center, how they work is they actually have a network of servers that have their own IP addresses, right? And often these organizations will produce or provide a proxy server to their users. So how do fraudster actually take benefit of it? Is that they can route the bots they use through proxy services to avoid detection via IP addresses. So these type of data center or proxy traffics, they can also be blocked on our Tracker platform.
Right. So now that we are aware of the various fraud channels that can be used by partners, can you elaborate on how they are actually affecting the health of the marketing campaigns?
Yeah, so actually that is a very nice question because everyone who is in this business, they should be aware of the consequences that could occur. What will happen due to these fraudulent data, right? So firstly, I would say that it is actually using up a lot of advertising budget. So as we can see in the next slide as well, so we have various points that I have mentioned over here. So first of all, they're actually using up a lot of advertising budget, right? So any false clicks or any impressions or anything that is artificially increasing the cost of impressions or clicks on low quality websites, which are also known as domain spoofing frauds. So they will consume a lot of advertising budget and they will not produce any genuine results. So this could actually result in huge revenue losses. Another thing is that it is actually wasting time pursuing bad leads. So whenever the sales team is trying to produce revenue quickly and consistently, they are focusing on high quality leads, right? But what ad frauds do is they generate low quality or entirely leads that have no intention of doing business. So this actually wastes a lot of time of the sales department, and they may even miss out on genuine or high quality leads by spending too much time on low quality leads from these fraudulent sources. Also, not to mention, all of this would obviously lead in harming the brand's reputation, right? So ads appearing on site, they're not suitable if they're not suitable for the brand, then they can actually cause a lot of damage to the brand's image. And the last drawback that I've mentioned over here is that any of this fraud data would obviously skew the matrices of the future marketing campaigns, right? So whenever there are fake clicks, fake conversions, and if you want to predict how a campaign would actually do in the future, they won't have the correct analytics or correct data for it. So that could also lead to more wasted ad budgets on the campaign. Yeah, so concluding my points that I've mentioned over here, we can see a graph over here, right? So this actually tells the estimate of the fraud data that organizations like Juniper Research have actually collaborated and have shown this in a graph, right? So they have actually shown that the ad fraud cost that would be occurring that have occurred in 2019 is $42 billion, and they project that the cost will increase to $100 billion by 2023. So as you can see in the first figure as well, by 2022, the estimated advertising revenue loss across various countries was around $44 billion. And in the other image on the right, you can see that 20.6% of online ad click through ads were due to fraudulent clicks. So, this can actually give you an overall idea of how the frauds are, impacting in a big way to your business.
Right. These are really profound numbers that you've just shared with us, Ankita. And I must say, I'm really shocked that partners are actually sending out so much traffic, so much fraud traffic toward their to the brands and other people that actually collaborated with. So, is there any way that Tracker can help brands from getting affected from these smart practices?
Yeah, sure. So, we have a very far insighted technological people at Tracker who actually, predict the problem before even it occurs. So they come up with solutions beforehand, so that they can give their clients the best customer experience, right? So to combat these frauds, we have created an anti-fraud tool, and we have a few detailed, comprehensive reports which could help user to get granular data of whether the traffic is fraud or not, and how much percentage of it is fraud and how much percentage of it is actually genuine.
Right. So, can you give us an elaborate overview of your anti-fraud tool and how can it actually help its users from preventing fraudulent traffic from hampering their campaign and marketing
Yeah.
activities?
So our anti-fraud tool is one segment which help you create rules on the basis of the scope, right? So as we can see in the next slide, we'll see the advertisers or the brand marketers, they can actually select the scope over here. They can select if they want the scope to be on clicks. They can select if they want the scope to be on conversions, or both. And they can also include advertisers, include campaigns, include publishers as they like, right? So on these very rules, they can put on certain restrictions.
Right. What are the rules on and what parameters do you specify that traffic is fraud or not?
So here, as you can see, there are a set of restrictions over here. So if a user thinks that they're getting a traffic from data center, like if they think that they're getting traffic from a script or from AWS, GCP, etc., so they can just click on the button, the radio button that they can see over here, and the traffic will be blocked. Similarly, in a similar manner, they can also block traffic from proxies from any blacklisted IPs. So blacklisted IPs, there must be a set of IPs on the web that are marked as blacklisted. So we have all of the database of all these IPs, and whenever a traffic comes from a blacklisted IP, it gets triggered at the backend and it gets blocked from over here. And other parameters as well. So if you think that you're getting clicks or conversions from an unknown device, or if you're getting it from an empty device ID, or if the device ID of a particular device, is not valid, or then the conversions and clicks can be blocked from here as well. And also, lastly, if the user thinks that conversions and clicks are coming from the same IP or same subnet, then they can block that through our unique IP conversion field over here. So based on all of these restrictions that we've added, we can set up certain actions, right? So as we can see the actions over here, if the user wants to allow the traffic and mark it as fraud, he can select that from over here. If he thinks that he wants to block the traffic and mark it as fraud, then he can do that as well from over here.
Right. So that's really amazing that we can track and prevent all these malpractices and fraud traffic sources through just one tool. But can you tell us how you process or analyze this fraud data, and probably what percentage of the traffic is actually fraud, and how do you actually differentiate if it's genuine as well?
Yeah, so as I had mentioned earlier, we have various reports that can, help user with such granular data. So one such report is the fraud tool report. So all of the rules and restrictions that are set here by the user, they can check the analytics of the same in the report. So as you can see in the screen, we have the list of campaigns that that a user is having, and they can see the geo wise data, and they can see how many conversions are getting rejected, how many are the gross conversions, and what are the rejection rate as well. So in the graph above, you can see that it gives an analytical view of the rejected conversions and the gross conversions over here. And over here, the users can actually see the reason as to why the clicks or conversions got rejected. So this is a whole holistic report that we have. So in this, you can see the reason. So the few reason was like in the previous slide, as we can see, it was So one of the reason was proxy. The other was duplicate IP subnet, and you can see the percentage of how much of it was actually fraud. So next, as you can see on this screen as well, we have a few bot reports integrated at our end as well. So in these reports, you can see how much of the data or the traffic that you're getting is automated, or is likely automated, or is likely human. So this will help the user to analyze the traffic on these bases, and they can reduce the bot traffic from their end. So this can be done on GeoWise. This can also be done on OS devices. As you can see in the screen, we have various OS devices: Android, iOS, Windows, smartphone, desktop, and it gives a whole overview of how much traffic each of these OS are getting or bought or not. So this is one of the graphs that helps us understand as to how Trackier has helped our clients to identify the fraud traffic that they're getting and block them, right? So in this data, you can see that the total traffic that was received was 87.2 billion, and the number of automated actually fraud traffic was 68.3 billion, and likely automated was 9.12, and human data was 9.77. So we had at Trackier, we had verified all of these data, this bot traffic, and we have helped a lot of clients to actually block them.
So, Ankita, I have one question that is being raised: is there a way we can check how revenue is being affected through these frauds?
So we have an integrated report at our end, so you can see all of the revenue that you're getting from these rejected conversions or clicks, and you can take your steps accordingly, right?
Okay. So is there one more question is being raised is whether you can identify frauds being by sub source wise, basically.
Yeah, so we can obviously do that from our sub ID report. So that report actually gives you a holistic idea of from which subsource you're getting, fraud data, and you can block them as well.
Right. That's really great, Ankita. Thank you so much for actually giving us so much insights about the different ad fraud activities. So we'll be wrapping up the webinar now, and we'll be starting up with the Q&A session. Right. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, so one of the questions that someone has raised is what is CTIT rule and track here? So CTIT is basically click to install time, right? So what happens in CTIT rule is that whenever there are any installation frauds, so if you think that a lot of, as I had mentioned earlier, like in ClickFarms, what people do is they install apps multiple times to show as if they're, actually being installed. So what in CTIT rule people can do is they can actually give a certain time. So if they think that an app should be installed in a certain time, right? So if, for example, you're saying that it should take at least 15 minutes to get downloaded based on the size of the app, then you can set those CTIT rules, and you can, block those and block any of the conversions that are getting fired in less than 15 minutes.
Right. So I would request our attendees to raise some questions regarding the ad fraud. If you have any queries, we are definitely here to answer you guys.
Yeah, so two of the people have raised this question that if they can, actually block duplicate IP clicks and track it. So yes, from our, the rules that I had shown earlier in the anti-fraud tool, we have an option to block duplicate IP clicks as well. So if you think that you're getting multiple clicks from the same subnet or same IP, then you can just click on those radio buttons, and from, all of the backend data will check into it, and the work will be done, and the fraud traffic will be um, excluded from your real ones. So another question is how accurately can tracker differentiate between bot and human traffic? So we have certain parameters that we have uh, put at our backend, and we also have integrated with Cloudflare regarding this. So they have certain parameters as to identify whether what kind of traffic is actually bot traffic. So the user can himself as well select a parameter, like if he thinks that, a traffic that is coming is like 30% of it is bot, then he can select that through a slider, and he can, mention his own parameters of what a bot or what a human traffic would look like. So one of another one is, can you share some insight on click signature? So yeah, so what some of our MMP partners have done is that they have actually created an option of click signature where every click will have a unique signature. So this will be recorded at the system, and this will actually help in identifying whether we are getting the same clicks from a place or not, because every click will be designated a unique signature. So this will help a lot in um, reducing the fraud traffic.
Nice.
I guess we can take one more question because we are kind of running out of time. Uh, okay, so one of the question is, what all parameters does the anti-fraud report contain? So as it was mentioned earlier, right? As we have shown all of the restrictions, um you can see the parameters based on if you're getting a traffic from data center, if you're getting traffic from proxy, if you're getting uh, a traffic from same subnet or same IP, if you're getting it from a bot, emulator, simulator, then all of that data can be actually identified and blocked. So another question. So we'll just take, I guess, one or two more questions over here. So one of the question is, can we get publisher-wise fraud reports? Yes, obviously we have a vast range of reports at Trackier, integrated at Trackier. So you can get all of those reports on our dashboard, and you can see, all of those fraud reports publisher-wise as well.
So yeah, right. Do we have another questions? I guess we are out of time now, right? So Ankita, I guess we will be concluding with this webinar, right?
So, yeah.
So thank you so much to all our attendees who have attended this webinar, and don't worry, all your queries that have been requested, obviously we'll be answering them in the coming months, and we'll be sharing the recording of the webinar and the presentation as well with you guys via our email. And please reach out to us at support@trackyear if you have any other queries. We will get back to you shortly. Thank you so much for attending. Have a nice
You
day.
guys,
Thank you
good
so
night.
much. Bye bye.